In a desert edged with hardy tufts of grass, two Adax males clash their twisted horns, pale bodies turning and lunging in measured bursts. In a narrow valley slowly filling with evening mist, musk deer move cautiously through waist-high grass.
In a field edged with frost, hooded cranes move with careful steps, their bills probing.
On a steep montane slope, striped with bands of grass and shrubs, a serow climbs with steady determination.
On a moonlit steppe, a Corsac fox stands statue still, its pale coat almost the same tone as the bleached grass around it.
As thunderheads build on the horizon, common swift. Across a braided river system where grassy bars break the current into many channels, waterbuck and cob pick their way carefully through knee-deep water.
On winter meadows held just below the waterline, whooper swans tip their long necks into the shallows to crop submerged shoots and roots.
On a short, cropped river meadow, grey-lag goslings press against the flanks of resting adults, their
On a rocky promontory above grassy slopes, a bearded vulture stands motionless. Just before returning to the water, hippos graze quickly along a night-fed lawn of short grass. Their wide... Across the high puna, vicunas spread out to graze evenly spaced bunches of hardy grass, careful not to exhaust any single clump. On a steppe once hushed by plough and dust, restored grassland now sways in the wind. On steep Himalayan slopes carved into natural terraces of grass, Himalayan tahr move with sure-footed ease. Above a hay meadow humming with crickets, a Montagu's harrier.
From above, the tundra reveals a network of pale paths etched through moss and grass. Roots
On a pale green plain blurred at the edges by heat haze, gemsboks stand almost motionless. Where sunlight... In a light dappled clearing beneath sparse woodland, giant sable antelopes move with High above, rolling green steppe, migrating cranes cast long, traveling shadows that slide.
Under a dim sky, night herons stalk slowly along narrow ditches choked with grass, each step set.
On the pale fringe surrounding a salt pan, saiga graze on strips of grass that find root where salinity.
On a sunlit plain, two blackbuck males lower their spiraling horns and push, twisting against each other. Along the edge where tall cerrado grasses meet scattered scrub, a maned wolf drifts past.
Along a river's edge, a tiger slips through tall grass in near silence, its stripes breaking.
In a quiet grass clearing, an aardvark stands over a low mound and digs, its powerful claws sending clods of soil backwards in steady rhythm. In a lush, shallowly flooded pasture, crowned cranes walk with deliberate care. In tall spring grass, saiga calves lie pressed flat against the ground, their mottled. On a flower-flecked plain, male bustards inflate their chests and throw their heads back, white feathers fanning out as they. At the edge of a mist-draped meadow, a bull elk throws back his head and bugles, the sound carrying over. At the edge of a sodalay, ringed lows salt their bills.
On a damp prairie where last year's stubble mingles with new green blades, snow geese graze in dense.
Above an open sweep of savanna grass, buffalo weavers ferry stems and twigs up into a bulky communal nest.
On an open tundra meadow, reindeer rest in loose groups, some lying, some.
From high above, first light moves in waves across interconnected plains, revealing scattered.
Across a stretch of short savanna grass, Urdant strides.
Across a short grass plain, a cheetah explodes into a sprint, threading through a scattering herd of Thompson's. On an open green savanna, a line of Cape-red buffalo stands shoulder to shoulder, horns lowered.
Over a green meadow, a cloud of starlings twists and folds in frantic patterns as a peregrine falcon drops from height.
On a low grassy crest, two male topi drive their horns together in a series of short, brutal collisions. On a green valley floor, African wild dogs fan out in a coordinated rush, slicing into the flank of a mixed wildebeest. The adults swing around as one, horns outward, and surge forward. The cats break and run under the weight of the charge. On the edge of tall grass, cheetah brothers stand. On a wide green flat, two zebra stallions rear up, forefeet cutting the air as they bite and kick, manes flung into arcs of dust. On open prairie, a pronghorn fawn streaks away in a straight line while two coyotes cut across its path from different angles, trying to anticipate its next turn.
In a patch of short grass, a serval freezes as an angry guinea fowl spins to face it, wings spread and voice raised in a rattling alarm.
Across a pockmarked field of burrow entrances, a caracal moves in a slow, rapid circle. A giant anteater rips into the loose soil, tongue flicking in quick bursts. As lions watch from the tall grass, elephant cows close ranks around their calves, trunks lifted and trumpets ripping through the warm evening air. Across short, frosted grass, a small pack of North American gray wolves paces parallel to a tight on low rolling step. Male saiga crash their ridged horns together, pushing and twisting in short bursts that kick up flurries of dust from the thin turf. At a spring beside green banks, vultures crowd around a carcass until black-backed jackals rush in, snapping and lunging.
Steamon. In a high meadow, a red fox feeds on a freshly caught hare, tail flicking in contentment, unaware of.
At the edge of a burrow colony, meerkats surge around an upright Cape cobra, rushing forward with chattering calls. Pumas move between low ridges, closing the gap to a loose herd of guanaco. When one animal on a semi-arid grassland stitched with low shrubs,
Oryx wheel in unison to face a pack of African...
In a short grass clearing, banded mongooses circle a coiled puff adder, rushing in with abrupt feints that provoke strikes into empty air.
On a windswept tundra meadow, muskoxen back into a tight ring, horns facing outward and
Hinten sober von weit, Jubel, kein Job.
On a sunlit grassland, a cheetah digs in and drags a small carcass away from encroaching jackals, lips...
On a gently sloping green savanna, two male giraffes stand side by side. At the edge of a damp, grassy clearing, warthogs and bush pigs face each other over a patch of churned, fragrant... In a rodent-rich strip of meadow, a caracal and a serval circle each other, stiff-legged, growls. On a gently sloping savanna, blackback jackals circle a cheetah mother whose cubs lie hidden in the grass behind her, barking sharply as they probe for weakness.
Over a broad strip of steppe grass riddled with burrows, a sucker falcon drops like a thrown stone toward a...
A coalition of male lions fans out around a lone Cape buffalo stranded on short green grass.
On a lush open plain, African wild dogs streak through a loose herd of impala, the air filling with snorts and the drumming of hoofs.
In a patch of open green grass, a secretary bird confronts a rear cobra, its wings spread for balance as it...
At the edge of a muddy waterhole, two white rhino bulls face off.
High above a carpet of grass, a leopard sprawls over a branch, jaws still bloody from its kill, while
on a bright river margin hemmed by green banks, crocodiles cruise the shallows as Cape buffalo form a tight...
In the shallows of a river bordered by bright grass, a crocodile clamps down on a large fish, while marabou storks... At the edge of a European meadow, a roe deer browses on tender shoots, while a Eurasian lynx threads silently through the long grass behind it.
On a sunlit patch of short grass, Chicos.
Under the sparse shade of a lone acacia on a green slope, two impala rams slam their lyre. In a cool highland meadow splashed with wildflowers, two red deer stags drive their antlers.
On a patch of trampled grass, vultures jostle and hiss around a desiccated kill until spotted hyenas arrive.
On an open steppe, brushed with low grass, steppe eagles and red foxes circle a...
At the edge of a quiet meadow, guinea fowl crowd into low shrubs for the night, unaware of the caracal gliding closer through the grass.
Across a mosaic of open grass and scattered shrubs, African wild dogs weave around a turning kudu bull.
In a sunlit meadow, a monitor lizard wrestles with a small, struggling prey item. On an open prairie brushed gold and green, a grizzly bear edges toward a bison herd, only to find the front line. At the restless front of a migrating herd spread across a green plain, two wildebeest bulls turn from
On a patchwork of spring snow and new grass, a snowshoe hare zigzags in wild arcs as a stoat streaks behind it. At first light, a mink prowls around a grassy bank den, sniffing for unattended young or stray scraps of fish.
On a bare patch of short-cropped grass, a cheetah and an adult ostrich face each other, both assessing risk in a long, silent stare.
In a pool fringed by green reeds, a crocodile glides too close to a hippo calf, and the mother explodes into motion.
Across the Central Asian steppe, goitered gazelles stream away from distant wolves. The herd
At a bare patch of earth amid lush grass, a Cape buffalo bull squares up to a white rhino at a salt lick, both unwilling to give ground. On a semi-arid grassland dotted with scrub, two gemsbok drive their long, rapier-like horns together.
On a rocky slope where sparse grass hides burrows, a Pallas's cat and a steppe polecat stop within striking distance.
In a flooded grassland, golden jackals circle a parting-in pair of sarang.
On a windswept tundra, dotted with tufts of hardy grass, a snowy owl stands over a...
In a dew-laden meadow, a tiger stands over a freshly killed spotted deer, while a pack of dholes circles just beyond claw range. Across a gently rolling savanna, a cheetah mother sprints back toward her cubs, having seen a hyena angling toward the small kill she left them.
On a Cerrado clearing ringed by tall grass, a maned wolf and a crab-eating fox converge on the same road. Within a loosely defined arena of bare ground surrounded by green pasture, blackbuck males crash.
On a stretch of coastal grassland overlooking distant surf, two wallaby bucks rear and trade kicks, their tails braced as they shove and feint.
Their different tactics, silent glide from above, cautious stalk from below, rarely collide, but when they do, on a dimly lit grassland, an aardwolf stands over a...
On a high alpine meadow, a snow leopard crouches in the grass when a herd of yak senses its... At the edge of a forest meadow, a herd of gore feeds on lush grass, while a pack of dholes circles just beyond their heavy horns.
When predators appear at the edge of a mixed herd on a green plain, blue wildebeests and plain zebra's.
When a swarm of locusts settles over a damp grassland, jackals move through with snapping jaws as ibises follow close.
On a tundra meadow, glazed with lingering snow, a wolverine lopes straight.
along a narrow channel carved between banks of green, black stalks and
Muskrats ferry spheroidal stems to half-submerged platforms, unaware of common snappingdills buried in the muck below.
On a high plateau where grass grows in sparse tufts, two eland bulls drive their heavy horns to... On a patch of short Kalahari grass, a group of yellow mongooses swarm around a rearing Cape cobra, dashing
in a high alpine meadow dotted with marmot cats.
On an open steppe, a steppe eagle mantles over a freshly caught ground squirrel when a marsh harrier stoops again and again from a...
On a green plain, 3 male cheetahs fan out to face a lone lion standing over the remains of a kill, their slim bodies dwarfed by the heavier cat.
On a green plain dotted with low shrubs, African wild dogs tear at a fresh carcass until a lion pride appears on the horizon. In a meadow clearing heavy with termite mounds, a leopard retreats into the tree line as a sloth bear shuffles in, On a tundra meadow darkening beneath an incoming storm, 2 muskox bulls clash horns, the heavy blows echoing across the open ground.
On a broad steppe, a saiga herd turns as one to face a line of approaching wolves. Their bulging...
On a windy pampa where grass shivers in constant motion, a puma...
On a wide prairie, a bison herd suddenly breaks into a full charge.
On a snowy meadow where pale grass pokes through ice, Arctic wolves feed shoulder to shoulder on a musk.
In a wet depression surrounded by fresh grass,
When their paths converge over a single rustle, a brief chase decides who claims the opportunity.
At dawn, dew-covered grass surrounds the scattered remains of the night's hunts. Tanzanian lions dozing.
On a Central Asian steppe meadow, demoiselle cranes spread their wings and rush at a red fox approaching their downy
In a shallow, flooded meadow between rice paddies and wild grass,
High above a grassy valley, 2 ibex rams clash horns on a narrow ledge, hooves skittering over loose stone as they push and twist.
a white rhino cow swings her head between her small calf and a bullish male pressing too close.
On a low termite mound rising from a sea of grass, 2 toppy males drive their horns together. At first light on a green ridge, a leopard lies low in the grass, eyes narrowed on impala while grazing.
At a muddy river pinched between green banks, thousands of wildebeest plunge into the water, unaware.
A honey badger and a black-backed jackal tug at opposite ends of a startled tortoise.
Over a field lined with nest-heavy trees, a harrier hawk hovers and swoops, testing the defenses of a few.
Beside a reed-fringed river, a small group of lions eyes a buffalo herd too long, and the great bovines
Over a sunlit grassland dotted with burrows, a burrowing owl lifts with a fresh catch dangling from its talons.
In a narrow channel between grass-choked banks, a curious young hippo nudges the armored flank of a crocodile.
At a shallow waterhole ringed with green, baboons crouch to drink until a group of warthogs trundle in.
On a steep high pasture, a snow leopard hugs the ground, weaving between rocks and sparse grass while ibex graze along the skyline.
At a shallow backwater lined with grass, saddle-billed storks stalk the margins until hulking marabou lumber in to share the...
In a twilight meadow, a hare flees a pursuing fox in wild zigzags, only to blast through a patch of grass hiding a crouched lynx. On a tundra meadow mottled with snow and grass, a wolverine bristles over a half-buried cache as ravens hop in and out of striking distance.
At a shallow bend where grass dips into the river, a crocodile basks motionless until a group of otters arrive. At the edge of a forest meadow, two gore bulls circle and shove, their massive shoulders heaving as they test each other's strength in deepening light. In a marshy meadow, a sambar stag wheels and charges at dholes skirting the edges of the herd, his heavy antlers lowered over waterlogged grass.
At a shallow salt-rich pan ringed with green, mixed antelopes lick eagerly at the earth until a family of elephants arrives. On a cropped green flat, a lappet-faced vulture strides heavily among smaller white-backed vultures.
In a flower-dotted meadow, a black kite and a buzzard face each other over the remains of a rabbit, wings half spread as they tug at the same strip of meat. On a remote steppe, punctured by a single pond, wild saiga approach the water's edge.
At the edge of a European meadow, a wolf pack passes in single file while a lynx watches from a low branch.
On a gently rolling plain, two springbok males clash horns at the edge of a feeding herd, kicking up dust from the green sward with each shove and twist.
In the cooling air of an Australian plain, two red kangaroo males square up, forearms jabbing and powerful hind legs kicking as they box for dominance. On a forest meadow fringed with dark trees, a pack of wolves tears at an elk carcass until a brown bear emerges from the shadows.
At dusk, a muddy waterhole ringed by worn grass draws zebras, wildebeest and gazelle.
On a bogger swale bright with reeds and grass, waterbucks pick their way along firmer edges while buffalo plouts.
In the dappled shade of a grass-lined gully, spotted hyenas squaggle over a carcass until a lion pride steps.
On an open green slope, a clan of African wild dogs fans out around a fleeing hartebeest herd, each turn and fight aimed at peeling a calf from the mass.
At a narrow river bend hemmed by lush banks, a herd of buffalo approaches a crossing already crowded with half-submerged hippos. Along a narrow channel bordered by bright grass, herons pick delicately at fish until pelicans sweep in as a
In a North American grassland streaked with scrub, a bobcat explodes from a tufted clump just as a covey